Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 1279 4 by 3.5 US 10B hinge. This is a typical and common Hager hinge in the sense of it being a 1279. That's like saying French fries at a hot dog stand. Very common. You're going to get that all the time. A 1279. What that means is that it's a 5-knuckle hinge that's full mortise, and we'll go over that. The size, though, this size is a bit less common for sure. This is a rectangular hinge in the sense that we've got a hinge that's 4-inch tall, but only 3.5 wide, and that makes it unusual. You will see residential applications. The home that I grew up in a suburb of Chicago had a 4 by 3.5 inch hinge. And really, a 4-inch hinge is appropriate for an 1 3/4 door, and you can make that work. It's just when you have a hinge that's not 4-inch wide is where you're going to severely increase the back set, the amount of wood on the edge of the door that's not been chiseled out. Okay, so you're probably buying this because you're replacing one, most likely. Now, it's important to know that you've got a 4.5 by 3. It's important to know that the height is the first dimension. This height is 4-inch. Okay, and the width is the 3.5. Okay, really important to know. Not so important to know, I guess, if you're dealing with a 4 by 4 hinge, but if you order a 4 by 3.5, or a 5 by 4.5, or a 4.5 by 8, it's important to know that this is the first dimension, because you could do hollow metal doors and frames and you're doing 5 by 4.5 inch hinges because you've got 3'6" or 4-foot doors and the specifications call for a taller hinge. Well, gosh, if you prep those for 4.5 and then send out hinges that are 4.5 tall and 5-inch wide, it will be exactly opposite of what the specification calls out for. So be mindful that the height is the first dimension. Now, that 1279, that means a variety of things. First of all, it means that it is a commercial grade hinge, and the thickness of this leaf should be 130 thousandths, 129 thousandths, according to Hager. There's a link below this video to the template that will allow us to review the dimensional properties, even though the 3.5-inch wide version is not there. But a 1279 will be a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that when they're brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and to the face of the frame. That they are 5-knuckle. That they are plain bearing. There's no ball bearing on this, but this hinge rotates very nicely. It's very smoothly. Ball bearing would always be a good idea. I can't think of an instance where it's not a good idea, except if the door is probably never used. It's made of steel. That's also inferred in the part number, that it's a steel-based hinge. The location of the holes will be considered template pattern or standard pattern, and that link to the template will allow you to review all of those locations. Where those screw holes are located, and by the way, screws will be included in a complimentary finish. This comes with all wood screws, also known as AWS, all wood screws, and half machine screws. You only get 4 machine screws in here per hinge, so if you have need for all machine screws, specify AMS when you are ordering the hinge. This has a button tip on it. If you imagine the button on your coat, that's what that tip looks like. The other one has a hole in it. You can tap the pin out and then drive this cap out and flip that over should you need to. I don't see why you would really need to. Maybe, I just don't know why you would need to reverse that, I suppose. Hager logo is on there. Decorative tips are available. Button tip, of course, the most common. Ball tip, urn tip, steeple tip can be done as well. Acorn tip, that's the one I was forgetting. Acorn. So there's a total of 5. You can do security features on this, like non-removable pins, where there would be a set screw drilled and tapped in the barrel of the hinge, so that you could tighten it and it would nest into the hinge pin so it couldn't be driven out, which you would want in an exterior door that swung out. You can do a welded security stud as well. You can do radiused corners. You can do hospital tips. You can do custom sizes on the leaves. You could do a drop leaf on this as well. So lots of options with this base sort of hinge, but if you're going to pull any options out, just go with a BB 1279, the ball bearing version of this. There's also a link below this video to the product catalog that will allow you to review the 1279 series hinge along with the sister products to the 1279. The non-ferrous based material, meaning if stainless steel or brass, you'd want to order it as an 1191. That means the base material is no longer steel but non-ferrous, stainless or brass. And then all the variations on these hinges. Obviously, the name, not obviously, but the name Hager is actually Hager Hinge, their namesake. So they're really known as a hinge company, naturally. This is shown in the oil-rubbed bronze finish, US 10B. This is available in all of the architectural finishes, your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, satin polished. Being Hager, they can entertain custom finishes on these as well. So be mindful of that. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And when it's oil rubbed, you will expect to see a little bit of oil leak through onto the paper and your hands. There's a link to the catalog, the website, and all the Hager products that we sell. I'm partial to Hager in the sense that, why? Well, a number of small things. Their customer service is responsive. Their technical support is responsive. They have a comprehensive offering of material. They'll sell you everything from the door, from the hinge to the closer, the lock set, the exit device, the weather stripping, the electrified hardware, the trim and auxiliary hardware, the ancillary accessory hardware like filler plates and signage, Roton, the continuous geared aluminum hinges, and a comprehensive offering of that material. They do everything but the door and frame. At least at this moment, they're not offering doors and frames. So if you have any questions on the Hager 1279 4x3.5 inch standard weight hinge or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.